The elevator doors slide open on the 47th floor, and the first thing that hits is the smell. Gunpowder and expensive cologne mixed with fear. Rafeeq Al-Najjar stands with his back against the marble wall. 3 masked men closing in like wolves who've already tasted blood. His white thobe is torn at the shoulder. His breathing comes hard and fast. The hallway stretches long and empty behind him. No escape, no security, no witnesses. One attacker lunges forward with a knife that catches the chandelier light. Rafeeq dodges left, barely. The blade scrapes the wall where his throat was a second ago. Should have signed when you had the chance. The tallest one growls through his mask. His voice sounds American. Hired muscle. Now we do this the messy way. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Rafeeq's phone is shattered on the floor 15 feet away. His security chief Khalil is 3 floors down, bleeding from a head wound, unconscious. The cameras in this hallway were cut 20 minutes ago. Nobody's coming. Nobody knows. The second attacker pulls out a syringe filled with something clear and wrong. "This'll make it look like a heart attack," he says, almost cheerful. "Quick, painless, better than you deserve." Rafeeq's mind races through options that don't exist. He's fast but not faster than 3 armed men. He's smart but intelligence doesn't stop bullets. His entire fortune, his companies, his legacy. None of it matters when your heart stops beating. The third man steps forward, and that's when the elevator dings again. Everyone freezes. The doors slide open with that soft mechanical whisper that sounds too normal for what's about to happen. And standing there, barely 4 feet tall in a bright red dress and scuffed white shoes, is Zuri. She's holding her mother's cracked notepad against her chest like a shield. Her hair is pulled back in 2 puffs with red ribbons. Her eyes go wide when she sees the scene. The men, the weapons, Rafeeq trapped. For a moment, nobody moves. The attackers stare at her like she's a glitch in their plan. Children aren't supposed to be here. Children complicate things. Children are witnesses. "Get back in the elevator, little girl," the tall one says, his voice shifting to something almost gentle. Almost. Zuri doesn't move. Her legs are shaking. Her grip on the notepad goes white-knuckle tight. But she doesn't step back. Rafeeq's heart drops into his stomach. "Run," he whispers. "Please." The man with the syringe takes a step toward her. "I said get." Zuri's eyes drop to the floor. There's a glass bottle lying near her feet. Champagne, probably dropped during the initial attack. Without thinking, without planning, she kicks it. The bottle spins across the polished marble with a sharp skittering sound that echoes like gunfire. It's perfect. Too perfect. It rolls directly between the legs of the nearest attacker, who instinctively looks down, and in that half-second of distraction, Rafeeq moves. He grabs a heavy bronze statue from the hallway table and swings it like his life depends on it, because it does. The impact sounds wet and final. The first attacker drops. The second one charges, but Rafeeq is already moving, adrenaline turning him into something sharper than he's been in years. The syringe clatters to the floor. Rafeeq's fist connects with the man's jaw, and he stumbles back into the third attacker. But then the tall one recovers. He pulls a gun. Time slows down in that horrible way it does when you know you're about to die. The barrel points at Rafeeq's chest. Zuri screams, a sound so raw and terrified that it cuts through everything. And then the gunshot comes, but not from the attacker. From the stairwell door that just burst open, Khalil stumbles through, blood streaming down his face, his own weapon raised. His shot hits the tall man's shoulder, spinning him sideways. The attackers realize the game is over. They grab their wounded and bolt for the emergency exit, leaving behind only the smell of violence and the ringing silence that follows chaos. Rafeeq collapses against the wall, his chest heaving, his hands shaking so badly he can't make them stop. Khalil leans against the doorframe, pressing a hand to his bleeding head. "Sir, you're alive." Rafeeq looks at Zuri, who's still standing in the elevator doorway, tears streaming down her face, that notepad clutched against her heart. "How did you?" His voice breaks. "How did you know to come here?" Zuri's lips tremble. "I heard them talking. At the restaurant, they said tonight. They said the penthouse. Kadir's eyes narrow. Who's they? But before Zuri can answer, Rafeeq's phone, the one that's still somehow working despite being cracked, buzzes on the floor. The screen lights up with a message from an unknown number. Kadir picks it up, reads it, and his face goes pale. Sir, you need to see this. Rafeeq takes the phone with hands that won't stop shaking. The message is short, 5 words that turn his blood to ice. She's not finished with you. And attached below, a photo of his daughter Hanan, asleep in her bed, taken from inside her room. Tonight, now let me take you back to where this nightmare truly began. 24 hours earlier, the Aurelia Grand Dining Hall glows like something out of a dream people can't afford. Crystal chandeliers throw light that costs more than most people's rent. The carpet is so thick it swallows sound. The waiters move like ghosts, appearing only when needed, invisible when not. Every table is set with silverware that could feed a family for a month if sold. This is where Zuri's mother works, has worked for 6 years. Double shifts when they'll give them to her, which is almost always because good workers who don't complain are hard to find. Tonight, they're understaffed. Tonight, her mother made a choice she'll regret and thank God for in equal measure. She brought Zuri. Just stay near the kitchen, she'd said in the car, her voice tired in that bone-deep way that never quite goes away. Don't talk to the guests. Don't touch anything. And for the love of God, baby, don't get in anybody's way. Zuri promised. She always promises. But children's promises and reality don't always shake hands. She stands now near the service corridor, her red dress standing out like a cardinal in snow, watching the rich people eat food they barely taste while talking about money they'll never miss. Her notepad is tucked under her arm, the one her mother uses to take orders. Cracked spine, coffee-stained pages. The scene more life than most books ever will. A woman in a black dress that probably costs more than Zuri's entire school year walks past without looking at her. Not with cruelty, just with the kind of blindness that comes from never having to see. Zuri watches her disappear around the corner toward the private corridor. Something about the woman's walk, too fast, too purposeful, catches Zuri's attention like a hook. She shouldn't follow. Her mother said don't get in the way, and following guests definitely counts as getting in the way. But curiosity in an 8-year-old is stronger than fear. Zuri creeps forward, her shoes silent on the expensive carpet. The corridor is dimmer here, more private. There are doors that lead to conference rooms, private dining spaces, places where deals get made and secrets get kept. The woman in black, Seraphine, though Zuri doesn't know her name yet, stands with her back turned, phone pressed to her ear. Her voice is sharp, urgent, nothing like the smooth, sweet tone she used with the maitre d' 5 minutes ago. I don't care about the logistics, Seraphine hisses into the phone. Once he signs the transfer, he's done. I don't care what you do with him. Just make sure it looks like an accident. Zuri's breath catches in her throat. There's a pause. Then Seraphine's voice drops even lower, and Zuri has to press herself against the wall to hear. We're in place. Just get him to the penthouse tomorrow night. I'll make sure he's alone. The voice on the other end is too muffled to make out, but it sounds male. Angry. Yes, tomorrow, Seraphine snaps. I'm not waiting any longer. He's starting to ask questions. Another pause. The girl? What girl? Seraphine's voice sharpens. No children. That wasn't part of the deal. Zuri's heart hammers so loud she's sure Seraphine will hear it. Fine, just get it done. I'll handle my end. Seraphine ends the call and stands there for a moment, staring at her phone screen like it might tell her something she wants to hear. Then she smooths her dress, fixes her smile, and walks back toward the dining hall like nothing happened. Zuri stays frozen against the wall for a full minute after Seraphine is gone. Her mind races. Transfer, accident, penthouse. Tomorrow night, someone is going to die. Someone is going to be killed. And the woman in the black dress, the beautiful woman with the perfect smile, is the one making it happen. Zuri should tell someone, an adult, a manager, her mother, But what would she say? I heard a lady on the phone talking about an accident. Adults don't listen to children about things like this. Adults think children make things up, mishear, exaggerate. And even if they did listen, what if they told the wrong person? What if the woman in black found out? What if she came after Zuri's mother? The thought makes Zuri's stomach twist. She walks back to the dining hall on legs that feel like water. Her mother is taking orders at table 7, smiling even though her feet must be killing her. She doesn't notice Zuri slip back into the corner near the kitchen. And that's when Zuri sees him, the man Seraphine is sitting with. He's at the center table, impossible to miss. He wears traditional white robes that look crisp and clean even in this warm restaurant. His face is kind, the kind of kind you can see from across a room. He thanks the busboy who refills his water. He waits patiently when Seraphine is on her phone for the 3rd time this meal. He doesn't look like someone who's about to die. Seraphine sits across from him, but not with him. There's distance in the way she holds her body. She smiles at her phone more than she smiles at him. Zuri watches them and feels something cold settle in her chest. This man, the one Seraphine keeps glancing at with those empty eyes. This is the man they're going to kill. Tomorrow night, at the penthouse. Zuri's hands shake as she opens her mother's notepad. She finds a clean page. Rare, but there's one near the back. She doesn't have much time. Her mother will be looking for her soon. The dinner rush is picking up, but she has to do something, has to warn him. Her handwriting is messy, rushed, the pencil barely making marks on the cheap paper. But she writes it anyway, each word feeling heavier than the last. Your fiancé sold you out. They're in the penthouse tomorrow. Please don't go. She tears the page out carefully, folds it twice, and holds it against her chest like a prayer. Now she just has to figure out how to give it to him without getting caught. Because if Seraphine sees her, if that woman with the dead eyes realizes what Zuri heard, then the penthouse won't be the only place someone dies. Tomorrow, that's him. Zuri's hands won't stop shaking as she walks back toward the dining hall. The folded note burns against her palm like it's on fire. Every step feels wrong. Too loud, too obvious, like everyone can see what she's carrying and what it means. Her mother catches her eye from across the room and gives her that look. The one that means, stay out of trouble. Zuri nods, but trouble is exactly what she's walking into. The man in white robes is still sitting at the center table. Seraphine is back now, sipping champagne and scrolling through her phone, like she didn't just plan a murder 20 minutes ago. Zuri weaves between tables, keeping her head down. Nobody stops her. Nobody even looks at her. To the guests here, she's invisible, just another part of the scenery, like the paintings on the walls or the flowers on the tables. She approaches their table slowly, her heart beating so hard it feels like it might crack her ribs. The man looks up first. His eyes are warm, brown, the kind of eyes that actually see people. Hello there, he says softly, his accent making the words sound musical. Are you here to take our order? Zuri opens her mouth, but nothing comes out. Her throat has closed up. Her tongue feels too thick. Seraphine doesn't even glance up from her phone. This is it. This is the moment. Give him the note. Save his life. Walk away. But Zuri's hands are shaking so badly she almost drops the paper. The man notices. His expression shifts from polite to concerned. Are you all right? Zuri nods quickly. Too quickly. She reaches out and places the folded note on the table next to his water glass. Her fingers brush the expensive tablecloth. She pulls back like it burned her. The man looks at the note, then at her. Confusion flickers across his face. Is this for me? Zuri nods again, and then, before she can lose her nerve completely, she turns and walks away as fast as she can without running. Behind her, she hears Seraphine's voice, sharp and annoyed. What was that about? The man doesn't answer right away. Zuri risks a glance back. He's unfolding the note. His face changes. The warmth drains out of it like someone pulled a plug. His eyes go wide, then narrow. His jaw tightens. He reads it again, slower this time, like maybe he misunderstood the first time. Seraphine finally looks up from her phone. Rafeeq? What is it? He doesn't answer. He just stares at the note, then looks up sharply, searching the room for Zuri. Their eyes meet across the dining hall. For a moment, everything else disappears. The crystal chandeliers, the expensive carpet, the other guests. It's just the two of them, and in his eyes, Zuri sees something that makes her stomach drop. He believes her. He's terrified. Seraphine's voice cuts through again. Harder now. Rafeeq, what's on that paper? He folds the note quickly and slips it into his pocket. When he looks at Seraphine, his face is different, guarded, like he's seeing her for the first time. Nothing, he says quietly. Just a child's drawing. Seraphine rolls her eyes and goes back to her phone, satisfied. But Rafeeq doesn't look away from where Zuri is standing. He gives her the smallest nod, so small that if you weren't looking for it, you'd miss it entirely. Then he stands up. I need some air. Seraphine barely reacts. Fine, don't be long. We're supposed to meet Marcus at 9. Rafeeq walks toward the balcony doors without looking back. His movements are too controlled, too careful, like he's holding himself together with wire and willpower. Zuri watches him go and feels panic rise in her chest. What if she got it wrong? What if she misheard? What if she just scared a good man for no reason? But then she remembers Seraphine's voice on the phone. Cold, certain. Once he signs the transfer, he's done. No, she didn't get it wrong. Zuri glances at Seraphine, who's still on her phone, texting someone with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. And then Seraphine looks up, not at Zuri, at the balcony doors where Rafeeq just disappeared. Her smile vanishes. She stands up, smoothing her black dress. Excuse me, she says to no one in particular and follows him. Zuri's stomach drops. She shouldn't follow. She shouldn't get any more involved than she already is. But her feet move anyway, drawn by something stronger than fear. The desperate need to know if she just saved a life or ruined one. She slips through the crowd, staying low, staying invisible. She reaches the balcony doors just as they're closing and catches them with her fingertips. Through the gap, she can see them. Rafeeq stands at the railing, phone pressed to his ear. His voice is low, urgent, speaking in a language Zuri doesn't understand. But she doesn't need to understand the words to hear the fear in them. Seraphine approaches from behind, her heels clicking against the stone. What are you doing out here? Her voice is ice wrapped in velvet. Rafeeq turns slowly. When he looks at her, something has shifted in his face. The warmth is gone. The trust is gone. All that's left is a stranger looking at another stranger. Who were you talking to earlier? He asks quietly. In the corridor. Seraphine's eyes widen. Just a fraction, just for a second, but it's enough. I don't know what you're talking about, she says smoothly. Yes, Rafeeq says, his voice harder now. You do. The silence between them is so thick Zuri can barely breathe through it. Seraphine's face does something complicated. The mask slips, just for a moment, and underneath there's something desperate, something cornered. You're being paranoid, she says, but her voice wavers. Am I? Rafeeq pulls out his phone and shows her the screen. Then explain why my security just sent me a copy of estate transfer documents I never signed, with your name on them, filed 3 days ago. Seraphine's face goes pale. Rafeeq, I can explain. Who were you talking to? His voice rises now, controlled fury bleeding through. Who's waiting in the penthouse tomorrow? Who's supposed to make it look like an accident? Seraphine stumbles back like he hit her. Her mouth opens, closes, opens again, and then she runs. Not walks, runs. Her heels clicking against stone, then carpet, then disappearing into the crowded restaurant. Rafeeq stands there, gripping the railing so hard his knuckles go white. Zuri steps back from the door before he sees her. Her heart is racing. Her hands are shaking. She just watched a man's whole world crack apart because of words she wrote on a piece of cheap paper. She should feel good. She saved him, but all she feels is terrified. because Seraphine is still out there, and Seraphine knows something went wrong. And eventually, maybe not tonight, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually Seraphine is going to figure out where that note came from. What happens when someone stops you from committing murder and you're desperate enough to try again? Rafeeq stands at the balcony railing for a long time after Seraphine runs. His phone buzzes again. Kadir, his security chief, calling back. Rafeeq answers but doesn't speak first. "Sir, I've confirmed everything." Kadir's voice is tight. "The documents are real. The transfer was set to finalize tomorrow at 6 p.m. If you'd gone to that penthouse meeting..." "I know." Rafeeq cuts him off. His voice sounds hollow. "I know. Who warned you?" Rafeeq looks at the note still clutched in his other hand. The childish handwriting, the smudged pencil marks, the torn edge where it was ripped from a cheap notepad. "Someone I need to thank," he says quietly. He ends the call and walks back inside. The dining hall is still glowing, still beautiful, still pretending that terrible things don't happen in places this expensive. His eyes scan the room, looking for Red, looking for the little girl who saved his life without knowing him at all. He finds her near the kitchen entrance, standing close to a woman in a server's uniform who must be her mother. The woman is talking to a manager, exhaustion written in every line of her body. Rafeeq walks toward them slowly. He's aware of how he must look. A billionaire in traditional robes approaching a child and her mother who work here. People will stare. People will whisper. He doesn't care. When he reaches them, the manager's eyes go wide. "Mr. Al-Najjar, is there something we can help you with?" "If the service was..." Rafeeq raises a hand gently. "The service was perfect. I'd like to speak with..." He looks at Zuri, who's trying to disappear behind her mother's legs. "What's your name, little one?" Zuri's mother looks confused and worried in equal measure. "Sir, if my daughter bothered you in any way..." "She didn't." Rafeeq kneels down slowly, making himself smaller, less imposing. His knees protest. He's not as young as he used to be, but he ignores it. He looks directly at Zuri. "What's your name?" "Zuri," she whispers. Her voice is so small he barely hears it. "Zuri," Rafeeq repeats, like he's memorizing it. "That's a beautiful name." He pauses, choosing his words carefully. "Did you give me something earlier?" "A piece of paper." Zuri's eyes go wide. She nods slowly. Her mother's hand tightens on her shoulder. "Zuri, what did you..." "She saved my life," Rafeeq says simply. The words land like a bomb. The manager goes silent. Zuri's mother stares at him like he's speaking a language she doesn't understand. "I'm sorry," her mother says carefully. Rafeeq stands back up, his knees grateful. He looks at Zuri's mother, really looks at her. She has her daughter's eyes, tired but kind. The kind of tired that comes from working 2 shifts to keep the lights on and food on the table. "May I speak with you and your daughter privately?" he asks. "Just for a moment. I promise I mean no harm." The manager starts to protest. This isn't protocol. Guests don't just request private meetings with staff. But something in Rafeeq's face stops him. Zuri's mother looks down at her daughter, then back at Rafeeq. She's weighing options, calculating risks, wondering if saying no to a billionaire will cost her this job. "Okay," she says finally, "but just for a moment. I'm still on shift." Rafeeq leads them to a quiet alcove near the entrance, still public enough to be safe, private enough to talk. He gestures for them to sit, but neither does. So he remains standing too. "My name is Rafeeq Al-Najjar," he begins. "Earlier tonight, your daughter gave me a note, a warning." He pulls it out and shows it to Zuri's mother, who reads it with growing confusion and horror. "Zuri, what is this?" Her voice rises. "Where did you hear?" "She overheard something she wasn't meant to hear," Rafeeq says gently. "And she had the courage to tell me, even though she was afraid. Even though she's a child who had no reason to trust that I'd believe her." He looks at Zuri again. "You heard her on the phone, didn't you? The woman I was sitting with." Zuri nods, tears building in her eyes. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to listen." I just heard her say, "You have nothing to apologize for." Rafeeq's voice is firm. "You did something incredibly brave. Something most adults wouldn't do." He pauses, and when he speaks again, his voice cracks just slightly. "I have a daughter. Her name is Hanan. She's 9 years old. Not much older than you." Zuri's mother's expression softens. "If someone tried to hurt her," Rafeeq continues, "I would want someone to warn her. I would want someone to care enough to take that risk, even if it scared them." He reaches into his jacket and pulls out a business card, hands it to Zuri's mother. "This is my private number. If you or your daughter need anything, and I mean anything, you call that number. Security, legal help, medical, anything." Zuri's mother stares at the card like it might be a trick. "Sir, I don't understand." "We don't need." "Yes, you do," Rafeeq says quietly. "Because the woman your daughter overheard? She's not going to take this well. And I need to know you're both safe." The words hang in the air like a threat. Zuri's mother's face goes pale. "Are we in danger?" "No," Rafeeq says firmly. "I'm going to make sure of that. But I need your trust. Just for a little while." He looks at Zuri again. "Little one, tomorrow I may need your help again. Just to talk to the police. To tell them what you heard. Would that be okay?" Zuri looks up at her mother, who looks terrified and confused and exhausted all at once. "Baby, you don't have to." "I'll do it," Zuri says quietly. Her voice is stronger now. "If it helps." Rafeeq smiles for the first time since reading the note. It's a sad smile, but it's real. "You're very brave, Zuri," he says. "Braver than most people I know." He stands to leave, then pauses. "One more thing. I'm going to make sure you and your mother are taken care of. You won't have to worry about." "We don't need charity," Zuri's mother says quickly, pride flashing in her eyes. Rafeeq shakes his head. "It's not charity. It's a debt. Your daughter saved my life. That's worth more than money can buy. But since I can't give her back the fear she felt tonight, the least I can do is make sure she never has to feel that kind of fear again." He reaches into his jacket and pulls out an envelope, places it on the table next to them. "That's a check. Use it for whatever you need. Rent, bills, school. I don't care. Just take it." Zuri's mother stares at the envelope like it might explode. "How much?" "Enough," Rafeeq says simply. "And if it's not, call me." He turns to leave, then stops one more time, looks back at Zuri. "You're the only person I can trust right now," he says softly. "The only person who told me the truth when everyone else was lying. That makes you the most important person in my life today." Zuri's eyes fill with tears she doesn't understand. Her mother pulls her close, and as Rafeeq walks away, Zuri watches him go and feels something shift in her chest. Something big. Something that ties her fate to his in ways she can't see yet but will understand soon enough. Because tomorrow the police will come. Tomorrow questions will be asked. Tomorrow the truth will start to spread like fire. And someone who thought they'd gotten away with planning murder is going to realize a little girl in a red dress just burned their entire plan to the ground. What does someone do when a child ruins everything they've worked for? Morning sun cuts through Zuri's bedroom window like a knife made of light. She didn't sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Seraphine's face on the balcony. Pale, caught, desperate. She heard Rafeeq's voice asking who was waiting at the penthouse. She felt the weight of the note in her hand, over and over, like her brain couldn't let it go. Her mother is in the kitchen making breakfast. Zuri can smell eggs and hear the sizzle of oil in the pan. Normal sounds, safe sounds, but nothing feels normal anymore. There's a knock at the door, sharp, official, the kind of knock that means business. Zuri's mother wipes her hands on a towel and opens it carefully, the chain lock's still on. Through the gap, Zuri sees him, Rafeeq, standing there in casual clothes, jeans and a simple button-up shirt, looking more human than he did in the restaurant. Less like a billionaire, more like a father. "I'm sorry to come so early," he says. "May I come in?" Zuri's mother hesitates, then unhooks the chain. Their apartment is small, clean but worn. The couch has a blanket thrown over it to hide the tear in the cushion. The TV is 10 years old. Nothing matches, but everything is loved. Rafeeq steps inside and looks around with eyes that don't judge. Just see. "Thank you for letting me in," he says quietly. He looks at Zuri, who's standing in the kitchen doorway in her pajamas, hair still wild from not sleeping. "Good morning, Zuri." She doesn't answer, just stares. "I came to ask you both something," Rafeeq continues, "and I need you to understand that you can say no. There's no pressure, no obligation." Zuri's mother crosses her arms. "What is it?" Rafeeq takes a breath. "I want to build something in this neighborhood, a youth learning center, a place where kids can go after school, get help with homework, learn new skills, stay safe." Silence. Zuri's mother blinks. "I don't understand." "Why?" "Because your daughter reminded me why I got into business in the first place," Rafeeq says simply. "Not to make money, to help people, to build things that matter." He pauses. "I lost sight of that when my wife died. Hanan, my daughter. She needed me and I threw myself into work instead. Into deals and mergers and things that don't mean anything." His voice catches. He clears his throat. "Last night, an 8-year-old girl risked everything to save a stranger. That's the kind of person I want to be. The kind of person I want my daughter to be." Zuri's mother's eyes glisten. She doesn't cry, but it's close. "So you want to build a community center?" she says slowly. "Here, in our neighborhood?" "Yes, with your permission." "With the community's permission." Rafeeq looks at Zuri. "And I'd like Zuri to be part of it. Not as a worker, as an inspiration. The first kid through the doors. The reason it exists." Zuri finds her voice finally. "What about the penthouse? What about the bad people?" Rafeeq's face darkens. "The police are handling it. Seraphine is in custody. The men who were supposed to hurt me, they're being hunted. You did your part, Zuri. Now it's time for the adults to do theirs." But something in his eyes doesn't match his words. There's worry there. Unfinished business. "Is it over?" Zuri's mother asks, reading the same thing. "Almost," Rafeeq says carefully. "There are still questions, still pieces that don't fit. But you're both safe. I promise you that." He pulls out a tablet and shows them designs. Blueprints for a beautiful building with big windows and bright colors. A playground, basketball courts, computer labs. "This is what I want to build," he says. "Here, in your neighborhood, for kids like Zuri who deserve better than what they have." Zuri's mother studies the images. Her expression is complicated. Gratitude and suspicion and hope all tangled together. "Why us?" she asks. "Why here?" "Because here is where someone saved my life," Rafeeq says simply. "Because here is where courage lives." Outside, kids are starting to appear on the street. Morning sounds filter through the thin walls. Cars, voices, the city waking up. Rafeeq walks to the window and looks out at the neighborhood. At the cracked sidewalks and the empty lot across the street, where the community garden used to be before it got shut down for safety violations. "I see Hanan in every child here," he says quietly. "And I see what could happen if the world doesn't give them a chance." Zuri joins him at the window. Together, they watch a group of kids playing with a basketball that's lost half its air. "When I was young," Rafeeq continues, "my father told me something I never forgot. He said, the measure of a man isn't how much he builds for himself. It's how much he builds for those who can't build for themselves." He looks down at Zuri. "You built something for me yesterday. You built a future I almost lost. So now I want to build something for you. Something that lasts." Zuri's mother wipes her eyes quickly, trying to hide it. "When would you start?" "Today," Rafeeq says. "If you say yes." The word hangs there, full of possibility and risk. Zuri looks up at her mother, whose face is doing that complicated thing again. The thing it does when she wants something but doesn't want to hope because hoping hurts when it doesn't work out. "Say yes, Mama," Zuri whispers. Her mother looks down at her. At her daughter who saved a man's life with a piece of paper and a pencil. At her daughter who's braver than she ever was at that age. Okay, she says finally. Yes. Rafeeq's smile is like sunrise. Then let's build something beautiful. He starts making calls right there in their tiny living room. Architects, contractors, lawyers. His voice is different now. Confident, purposeful, alive in a way it wasn't at the restaurant. Zuri watches him and feels something warm spread in her chest. Hope, maybe, or purpose, or the feeling that saving one life can ripple outward in ways you can't predict. Outside, the kids keep playing with their half-flat basketball. Tomorrow they'll have a place to go. Tomorrow things will be different. But across the street, hidden in the shadow of a parked car, someone watches the apartment with eyes that have stopped pretending to be kind. Someone makes a call with hands that shake with rage instead of fear. And on the other end, a voice says 3 words that turn hope into a countdown clock. Phase 2. Now. The man with the warm smile arrives at Rafeeq's office building on a Tuesday morning carrying a leather briefcase and credentials that look too perfect. His name is Nasir Okoye, consultant, recommended by Seraphine's family lawyer, the one who handled the estate documents before everything exploded. His handshake is firm. His suit costs money. His eyes don't match his smile. Rafeeq studies him across the conference table while Kadir stands near the door, arms crossed, still wearing a bandage from the penthouse attack. Mr. Al-Najjar, I want to start by saying how sorry I am about what happened. Nasir says, his voice smooth as oil. Miss Vale's actions were unconscionable. Her family is mortified. Rafeeq doesn't respond right away. He's learned something in the past 48 hours. Silence makes liars uncomfortable. Nasir shifts in his chair, adjusts his tie, continues. I'm here to help clean up the mess she left behind. Estate documents, legal entanglements, media management. My firm specializes in crisis control for high-profile clients. I didn't hire your firm, Rafeeq says quietly. No, but the Vale family did. On your behalf. As an apology. Pro bono, of course. Kadir's eyes narrow. Rafeeq catches it from the corner of his vision. That's generous, Rafeeq says carefully. But I have my own legal team. Of course, of course. Nasir spreads his hands in a gesture of understanding. I'm not here to replace anyone, just to assist. To make sure nothing falls through the cracks while you focus on more important things. Like that community center project I heard about. Rafeeq's spine straightens. How did you hear about that? Public records, building permits. Word travels fast in business circles. Nasir smiles wider. It's a beautiful initiative, really, helping underprivileged youth. Very admirable. The word underprivileged lands wrong, like an insult dressed as a compliment. Rafeeq stands. Thank you for coming, Mr. Okoye. I'll consider your firm's offer and have my people contact you. It's a dismissal, polite but firm. Nasir doesn't move for a moment. Then he stands too, smoothing his jacket. Of course, take your time. He hands Rafeeq a business card. But if you need anything at all, I'm just a phone call away. After he leaves, Kadir walks to the window and watches Nasir cross the parking lot to a black sedan. I don't like him, Kadir says flatly. Neither do I, Rafeeq admits. Want me to run a background check? Already did. Before he walked in, Rafeeq pulls up a file on his tablet. Graduate of Harvard Law, 10 years at a top firm. Client list includes senators, CEOs, people who don't get indicted even when they should. His record is spotless. Too spotless, Kadir mutters. Exactly. They watch the sedan pull away, disappear into traffic. What do you want to do? Kadir asks. Rafeeq thinks about Zuri, about her mother, about the community center breaking ground in 3 days, about all the things that could go wrong if he's not careful. Keep him close, Rafeeq says finally. Let him think I trust him, but watch everything he does. Meanwhile, across town at the construction site, Zuri stands with her mother watching the first bulldozer clear the empty lot. Workers in hard hats wave at her. The foreman, A big man named Deshaun with kind eyes and a voice like thunder kneels down to her level. "You're the reason we're here, little miss," he says, grinning. "Mr. Al-Najjar told us all about you. Said you're the bravest kid he ever met." Zuri's cheeks warm. She looks down at her shoes. "When this place is done," Deshaun continues, "we're putting your name on a plaque right at the entrance. Zuri's place. How's that sound?" Zuri's mother's hand tightens on her shoulder. "You don't have to. We want to," Deshaun says firmly. "This is her center, built because she cared enough to speak up when nobody else would." The bulldozer roars. Dirt and debris scatter. The work begins. Zuri watches and feels that warm feeling in her chest again. The one that says maybe good things can happen. Maybe the world isn't only danger and fear. But then she sees him, standing across the street, watching. The man from Rafeeq's office. The one with the smile that doesn't reach his eyes. He's on his phone, staring directly at her. Zuri's stomach drops. She tugs her mother's hand. "Mama." "What, baby?" "That man. Over there." Zuri points. But when her mother looks, Nasir is already walking away, disappearing around the corner like smoke. "What man?" her mother asks. "He was watching us," Zuri says quietly. Her mother's face tightens. "We should call Rafeeq." But before they can, Deshaun calls out, "Ms. Williams, need you to sign off on these permits real quick." Zuri's mother hesitates, torn between two worries. Then she makes a choice. "Stay right here, Zuri. Don't move. I'll be right back." She walks toward Deshaun and his clipboard, leaving Zuri alone at the edge of the construction site. Zuri looks back toward where Nasir was standing. The corner is empty now. Just shadows and parked cars and the normal chaos of a city street. Maybe she imagined it. Maybe her mind is playing tricks because she's been scared for days and fear doesn't just disappear when the danger does. But deep in her gut, where instincts live before words can name them, Zuri knows something is wrong. She pulls out her mother's old phone, the one she's only supposed to use for emergencies, and scrolls to Rafeeq's number. Her finger hovers over the call button. Then she sees movement in her peripheral vision. Someone stepping out from behind a parked truck, moving toward her. Fast. Zuri's heart slams against her ribs. She turns to run back toward the construction site, toward her mother, toward safety. But Nasir is already there, blocking her path, his warm smile replaced by something cold and calculated. "Hello, Zuri," he says softly. "We need to talk." The learning center's windows explode at 2:47 a.m., 3 hours before sunrise, when the neighborhood is still sleeping and the streets belong to shadows. Glass rains down like deadly confetti. The sound echoes through empty blocks, sharp, violent, final. By the time the first neighbors stumble outside in bathrobes and confusion, the damage is done. The entire front wall is destroyed, construction equipment smashed, paint cans dumped across the foundation in colors that spell out words nobody wants to read. "He will fall," spray painted in letters 3 feet tall, red like blood, impossible to miss. Zuri's mother gets the call at 3:15 a.m. Rafeeq's voice on the other end, tight with controlled rage. "Don't come to the site. Stay home. Lock your doors. I'm sending Kadir to watch your building." "What happened?" Her voice shakes. "Someone sent a message." Pause. "I'm handling it." He hangs up before she can ask more questions. By sunrise, the entire neighborhood knows. News vans arrive. Police tape goes up. Reporters shove microphones at anyone who'll talk. Deshaun stands in the wreckage, his hard hat in his hands, staring at months of work turned to rubble in a single night. "Who would do this?" he asks nobody. "Everybody." Rafeeq arrives in an SUV with tinted windows, steps out into the chaos wearing sunglasses that hide the exhaustion in his eyes. He hasn't slept, hasn't eaten, has spent the night on the phone with lawyers and security and people who promise they can fix things they can't actually fix. He walks through the destruction slowly, stepping over broken glass, studying the graffiti, reading the threat over and over like maybe it'll mean something different the 10th time. It doesn't. Kadir appears at his elbow. We pulled the security footage. 3 men, masks. They knew where the cameras were, avoided most of them. But we got one partial plate. Running it now. They wanted us to know, Rafeeq says quietly. This wasn't about hiding. This was about fear. He spots something glinting in the rubble, kneels down, picks it up carefully with a handkerchief. A bracelet, silver, delicate, with a small charm in the shape of an S. Seraphine's bracelet, the one she wore at the restaurant, the one that was booked into evidence when she was arrested. How did this get here? Rafeeq's voice is barely a whisper. Kadir's face goes pale. Someone planted it. Someone who wants you to think that she's still involved, that this isn't over. Rafeeq stands, the bracelet dangling from the handkerchief like a question mark made of metal. His phone buzzes. Unknown number. He answers anyway. Enjoying the renovations? A male voice, distorted, mechanical. Consider it a preview. Who is this? Someone who knows you should have died in that penthouse. Someone who's going to finish what your fiancé started. The line goes dead. Rafeeq's hand shakes. Just slightly. Just enough. Kadir sees it. Sir, they're not done. Rafeeq's voice is hollow. Seraphine was just the beginning. Across town, in Zuri's small apartment, mother and daughter sit at the kitchen table in silence. Zuri hasn't spoken since yesterday. Since the man with the wrong smile cornered her at the construction site. Since he leaned down and whispered words that turned her blood to ice. You made a mistake, little girl, and mistakes have consequences. Her mother had found her 30 seconds later, standing frozen, tears streaming down her face. Nasir was gone, disappeared like he was never there. Zuri tried to explain, tried to tell her mother what he said. But the words stuck in her throat like broken glass. Now she just stares at the table, her notepad open in front of her, pencil in hand. She's written 3 words over and over until the page is black with graphite. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Her mother reaches across the table and gently takes the pencil from her hand. Baby, you have nothing to be sorry for. But Zuri knows better. She knows the center was destroyed because of her. Because she wrote that note. Because she couldn't stay invisible like she was supposed to. Children are supposed to be seen and not heard. And when they're heard, bad things happen. There's a knock at the door. Heavy. Urgent. Zuri's mother looks through the peephole and sees Kadir. She opens it quickly. We need to move you, Kadir says without preamble. Both of you. Tonight. What? Why? Because whoever's behind this knows where you live. And they're not finished sending messages. Zuri's mother's face drains of color. Are we in danger? Kadir doesn't answer right away, which is answer enough. Pack a bag, he says finally. 1 each. Only essentials. We leave in 20 minutes. As her mother rushes to the bedroom, Zuri stays at the table, staring at her notepad. At the words she's written over and over. At the apology nobody will accept because nobody thinks she needs to apologize. She thinks about Rafeeq, about his kind eyes, about how he said she was brave. She doesn't feel brave now. She feels small, powerless, like the world is too big and too cruel and children shouldn't have to carry the weight of adult problems. Her mother returns with 2 duffel bags. Come on, baby, we have to go. Zuri stands slowly, closes her notepad, slides it into her backpack along with the pencil, just in case she needs to write another warning, just in case someone needs to be saved, because that's what she does now, apparently, saves people, even when it costs everything. They follow Kadir down the stairs, through the back entrance, into a waiting car with tinted windows. As they pull away from the only home Zuri's ever known, she looks back at the apartment building getting smaller in the rearview mirror. And standing on the corner, barely visible in the streetlight's glow, is Nasir, watching, smiling, lifting his phone to his ear. Zuri's blood turns to ice. He mouths 2 words at her through the car window. Words she can read even from this distance. Tomorrow night. The same words Seraphine said on the phone. The same words that started everything. Tomorrow night, the penthouse, the place where Rafeeq almost died. Zuri's hand flies to her backpack, digging for her notepad, her pencil, something to write with, something to warn. But Kadir hits the gas and they're gone, speeding through dark streets toward a safe house that might not be safe at all. Behind them, Nasir makes a call to a number that doesn't appear on any phone records. Everything is in place for tomorrow. He'll walk right into it. Zuri finds the recording app on her mother's old phone by accident while sitting in the safe house bathroom at 4 a.m., unable to sleep, scrolling through anything that might distract her from the fear eating her alive from the inside. The app is hidden in a folder labeled Work Stuff. She opens it out of boredom more than curiosity. And then she sees the files, 23 of them, all dated within the past week, all titled with timestamps. She clicks the first one. Her own voice fills the tiny bathroom, tinny through the phone's speaker. That man, over there, he was watching us. Her mother's voice responds. What man? The recording continues, captures everything from the construction site, including the part Zuri doesn't remember clearly, the part where her mother, suspicious and afraid, had started recording the moment Zuri pointed out Nasir. The recording catches him approaching, catches his voice, low and threatening. You made a mistake, little girl, and mistakes have consequences. Then footsteps, her mother's voice, sharp with panic. Zuri, what's wrong? And in the background, barely audible, Nasir's voice again, on his phone, not realizing he's being recorded. Phase 2 is ready. Tomorrow night, penthouse, same time, and this time, make sure the girl doesn't interfere. Zuri's hands shake so badly she almost drops the phone. Her mother has been recording everything, every conversation, every moment, building evidence without telling anyone because she doesn't trust the system to protect her daughter more than she can protect her herself. Zuri scrolls through the other files. More recordings. Nasir's voice appears in 3 of them, always in the background, always saying things he shouldn't, always revealing pieces of a plan that's bigger and darker than anyone realized. In one recording from yesterday, he's talking to someone about Seraphine. She was supposed to handle it cleanly. Now we have to improvise. The brother's calling the shots now. The brother. Zuri's breath catches. She plays that section again and again. The brother's calling the shots now. Seraphine has a brother, and he's the one behind everything. Zuri bursts out of the bathroom, phone clutched in her hand. Her mother is asleep on the couch. Kadir is in the kitchen drinking coffee that looks like it's been reheated 4 times. I need to talk to Rafeeq, Zuri says, her voice urgent. Kadir looks at her with tired eyes. It's 4 in the morning, kid. I don't care. He needs to hear this. Now. Something in her voice makes Kadir put down the coffee. What is it? Zuri shows him the phone, plays the recordings, watches his face change from tired to alert to furious in the span of 30 seconds. Where did you get these? His voice is sharp. My mom's been recording everything. She didn't tell anyone because... Zuri stops. Because she doesn't know how to explain her mother's fear of police, of systems, of authority that historically hasn't protected people who look like them. But Kadir seems to understand without explanation. He takes the phone gently. Can I send these to Mr. Al-Najjar? Zuri nods. Within minutes, Rafeeq is on the phone. Within the hour, he's at the safe house, looking like he drove there at illegal speeds and didn't care about anything except getting to this tiny apartment in a neighborhood he'd never been to before. He sits on the floor across from Zuri. Not on the couch, not in a chair, but on the floor at her level. Let me hear it, he says quietly. Zuri plays the recordings. All of them. Every piece of evidence her mother collected without telling a soul. When they finish, Rafeeq sits in silence for a long time. His face is stone. His hands are fists. Seraphine's brother, he finally says, his voice barely above a whisper. Khalil Vale. Kadir's head snaps up. The businessman? The one who was driving the car that killed my wife. Rafeeq's voice cracks. 7 years ago. Hit and run. They said it was an accident. Drunk driving. He spent 6 months in minimum security and walked away with his life intact. The room goes cold. He's been planning this since then. Rafeeq continues, pieces falling into place with horrible clarity. Seraphine wasn't the mastermind. She was the tool. He manipulated her, used her, got her close to me so he could finish what he started 7 years ago. Zuri's stomach twists. Why? Rafeeq looks at her with eyes that have seen too much. Because I tried to sue him, tried to take everything he had, and I lost. The courts protected him. Money protected him. And I've been waiting for a chance to destroy him ever since. He stands, pacing now, energy crackling off him like electricity. He knew I'd never forgive, never forget, so he decided to strike first. Make it look like Seraphine's betrayal. Make it look like a crime of greed, when really it's revenge. Kadir pulls up files on his tablet. Khalil Vale owns 3 international shipping companies. Philanthropist, board member of half a dozen charities. On paper, he's untouchable. Not anymore. Rafeeq takes Zuri's mother's phone. These recordings prove conspiracy to commit murder. Prove he's orchestrating everything. We have him, but Zuri's mind is stuck on something else. Something Nasir said in the recording. Tomorrow night, penthouse, same time. She looks up at Rafeeq. They're going to try again. Tonight. Rafeeq's face hardens. Let them try. Sir, that's... Kadir starts. I know what it is. Rafeeq cuts him off. It's a trap, but this time we're ready. This time we have evidence. And this time, every person involved is going to be arrested before they can hurt anyone else. He kneels down in front of Zuri again. You did it. Again. You saved my life. Again. Zuri shakes her head. I just found the recordings. My mom. Your mother protected you. You protected me. This is what courage looks like, Zuri. He pauses. But I need you to do one more thing. And it's going to be hard. What? I need you to come with me to the police. To tell them everything. To be a witness. Can you do that? Zuri's heart hammers. She looks at her mother, who's awake now, standing in the doorway, fear and pride at war on her face. Her mother nods slowly. If you're ready, baby. Only if you're ready. Zuri thinks about the center in ruins. Thinks about Rafeeq's daughter Hanan, who almost lost her father. Thinks about all the kids in her neighborhood who deserve a safe place that got destroyed because bad people don't like being stopped. She thinks about the notepad in her backpack. The pencil. The words she wrote that changed everything. I'm ready, she says. But as Rafeeq drives them to the police station, Zuri stares out the window at the city, waking up, and feels something cold settle in her bones. Because her phone, her mother's phone with all the recordings, buzzes in her pocket. She pulls it out, stares at the screen. All the recording files are gone. Every single one. Deleted, wiped, like they never existed. And in their place, a text message from an unknown number. Nice try. See you tonight. Zuri's blood turns to ice. Her hands shake so badly she drops the phone. Rafeeq glances back from the driver's seat. Zuri? What's wrong? But the words won't come, because the evidence is gone. The proof is gone. And whoever's behind this just showed them exactly how powerful they really are. They can reach into safe houses, into phones, into lives, and erase whatever they want. How do you fight someone who can make the truth disappear? The penthouse elevator doors open at 9:47 p.m., exactly 13 minutes before everything either ends or starts over. Rafeeq steps out first, his body tight as wire, every nerve screaming that this is a mistake even though it's the plan. The hallway looks the same as it did 2 nights ago. Marble floors, expensive art, silence that costs more than sound. But this time there are cameras everywhere, police positioned on every floor. Kadir and 3 other security officers stationed in the stairwells. Every exit covered, every angle monitored. This time, Rafeeq isn't walking into an ambush blind. This time, he's the trap. His phone buzzes. A text from Kadir. We're in position. You're not alone. Rafeeq doesn't feel not alone. He feels like prey wearing a wire, hoping the predator takes the bait before realizing it's poisoned. He walks toward the penthouse suite, the one Seraphine convinced him to use for private meetings. The one that was supposed to be his tomb. The door is unlocked, wide open, like an invitation, like arrogance. Rafeeq steps inside and the first thing he sees is Nasir, sitting casually on the leather couch, legs crossed, smiling that smile that never reaches his eyes. "Mr. Al-Najjar," Nasir says warmly, like they're old friends. "I'm glad you could make it. We have so much to discuss." "Where is he?" Rafeeq's voice is flat, hard. "Who?" "Khalil, Seraphine's brother. The man who killed my wife. The man who's been pulling your strings like you're made of wood." Nasir's smile doesn't falter, but something shifts in his eyes. Calculation, reassessment. "I don't know what you're talking about," he says smoothly. "Yes, you do." Rafeeq steps further into the room. "You've been working for him since the beginning, setting me up, destroying the community center, threatening a child." "A child?" Nasir laughs. "You mean that little girl who can't mind her own business? The one who ruined a perfectly good plan with a note written in crayon." "Pencil," Rafeeq corrects coldly. "And she's braver than you'll ever be." Nasir stands now, the mask finally slipping. "Brave? She's a liability, just like you. Just like everyone who thinks they can stand in the way of people who actually matter." "People who matter." Rafeeq repeats the words like they taste rotten. "You mean people with money, power, people who think they can kill whoever they want and walk away clean." "Exactly." Nasir's voice hardens. "Your wife was collateral damage. You should have accepted that, moved on. But you had to make noise, had to threaten lawsuits, had to act like justice means something. It does. Not to us." The sound comes from behind Rafeeq. He turns slowly. Khalil Vale stands in the doorway, blocking the exit. He's older than Rafeeq remembers, graying at the temples, lines around his eyes. But his face is the same, the face from the courtroom, from nightmares, from 7 years of rage. "Hello, Rafeeq," Khalil says quietly. "It's been a long time." Rafeeq's hands curl into fists. "Not long enough. I thought Seraphine would be enough." Khalil continues, stepping into the room. "I thought she could make you trust, make you vulnerable, make you sign over everything so that when you died, I'd have it all." He shrugs. "But your little guardian angel ruined that. Her name is Zuri." "I don't care what her name is." Khalil's voice goes cold. "She's a problem, and problems get eliminated." Rafeeq's blood boils. "If you touch her, you'll what?" Khalil laughs. "You're unarmed, alone, standing in a room with 2 men who want you dead. What exactly are you going to do?" "He's not alone." The voice comes from the elevator, small, terrified, defiant. Zuri steps out, holding her notepad like a weapon. Rafeeq's heart stops. "No." "Zuri, what are you?" "I heard them," Zuri says, her voice shaking but clear. "At the safe house. They said they'd finish it tonight. I couldn't let you come alone." Kadir appears behind her, his face twisted with fury and fear. "She slipped past us, hid in the elevator." "I'm sorry, sir, Get her out of here," Rafeeq orders. But Khalil moves faster. He pulls a gun from his jacket, small, efficient, deadly, and points it at Zuri. "Nobody moves," he says calmly, "or the child dies first." The room freezes. Rafeeq's mind races through options that evaporate as fast as they form. Kadir's hand hovers near his own weapon, but he doesn't draw it because the angle is wrong and Khalil's finger is already on the trigger. "You made a mistake coming here, little girl," Khalil says, walking towards Zuri slowly. "But mistakes are useful. Now your friend has a choice. He can sign over everything I want, or I can make him watch you die before I kill him too." Zuri's eyes fill with tears, but she doesn't move, doesn't run. She just stares at Rafeeq with an expression that breaks his heart. An apology, a plea, a goodbye. And then she does something nobody expects. She drops her notepad. The sound echoes in the silent room. The notepad hits the marble floor and falls open to a page covered in words. Names, dates, bank accounts, everything Zuri's mother recorded, transcribed by hand in case the digital files were erased, which they were. But evidence written in pencil on paper by a child's hand? That's harder to delete. Khalil's eyes flick down, just for a second, just long enough. Rafeeq lunges. He's not young, not fast, but he's desperate, and desperation makes people capable of impossible things. He hits Khalil low and hard, driving them both to the ground. The gun goes off, deafeningly loud, the bullet embedding in the ceiling. Kadir draws his weapon. Police, down on the ground. Now! Nasir bolts for the door, but 3 officers burst through, weapons raised, shouting commands that blend into a wall of authority and violence. Nasir goes down hard. Khalil tries to fight, but Rafeeq has 7 years of rage fueling every punch, and by the time Kadir pulls him off, Khalil's face is bloody and his eyes are dazed. The room fills with police. Handcuffs click. Rights are read. The trap that was supposed to kill Rafeeq instead catches the people who thought they were untouchable. Rafeeq stumbles to Zuri, who's pressed against the wall, shaking, tears streaming down her face. He wraps his arms around her like she's his own daughter, like she's Hanan, like she's every child who deserves protection and got danger instead. I'm sorry, Zuri sobs into his shoulder. I'm sorry, I just couldn't. You saved my life, Rafeeq whispers, his own voice breaking. Again, you saved me again. Kadir approaches, his face pale. Sir, the media's outside. They got tipped off. Someone made sure this is all going public. Rafeeq looks at the notepad on the floor, at the names written in a child's handwriting, at the evidence that can't be erased or hacked or buried. Good, he says quietly. Let them see. Let everyone see what happens when you underestimate a little girl with a pencil. Officers lead Khalil and Nasir toward the elevator in handcuffs. Khalil's eyes meet Rafeeq's one last time. This isn't over, Khalil says, but Rafeeq just smiles, cold, final, victorious. Yes, it is. As the elevator doors close on the men who tried to kill him, Rafeeq feels something shift in his chest. Not closure, not peace, but something close, justice, the kind that comes from a child's courage and a pencil's truth. He looks down at Zuri, who's still trembling against him. Let's go home, he says softly. But as they turn toward the door, Zuri's eyes catch on something across the room. A figure standing in the shadows near the window. A woman in a black dress, watching, not moving. Seraphine. Zuri's breath catches. She's supposed to be in jail. Rafeeq follows her gaze and his blood runs cold. Seraphine steps forward into the light, and in her shaking hand, she holds a gun. Her face is a mess of tears and rage and something that might be regret. I never meant for this, she says, her voice cracking. I never wanted. Then put the gun down, Rafeeq says carefully, stepping in front of Zuri. He threatened my family, Seraphine continues, like she didn't hear him. Khalil, my own brother. He said if I didn't help him, he'd kill my mother, my sister, everyone I loved. What was I supposed to do? You were supposed to tell someone, Rafeeq says. You were supposed to trust that I would have protected you. Would you have? Seraphine's eyes are wild. Or would you have let me burn the way you wanted Khalil to burn? The question hangs in the air like smoke. Rafeeq doesn't have an answer that sounds true. Put the gun down, Seraphine, Kadir says from across the room, his own weapon aimed at her. This doesn't have to end badly for you. Seraphine laughs. A broken, desperate sound. It already ended badly. The moment I said yes to him. The moment I chose fear over courage. She looks at Zuri, and her eyes soften. I'm sorry, little one. You were brave when I was a coward. You deserve better than what I gave you. And then she lowers the gun. Not toward anyone, just down, defeated. Officers rush forward and take it from her hands. led her away in handcuffs that looked too heavy for her thin wrists. This time, when the elevator doors close, it's really over. The gunshot rips through the hospital corridor at 11:23 p.m., and Zuri hits the floor before her brain catches up to her body. Glass explodes from the nurse's station. Someone screams. Footsteps pound against linoleum in every direction. Toward the sound, away from it, nobody sure which way means safety. Rafeeq is 3 rooms down visiting Hanan when it happens. His daughter recovering from emergency appendix surgery. Flowers on the nightstand. Balloons tied to the bed rail. Normal things in a normal room until nothing is normal anymore. He's in the hallway in seconds, Kadir right behind him, both moving toward the sound of chaos without thinking, because that's what you do when danger comes. You run toward it or you live knowing you didn't. Zuri is pressed against the wall near the elevator, her mother covering her body like a shield. A security guard bleeds from his shoulder 10 feet away. Patients huddle in doorways. The fluorescent lights flicker like they can't decide whether to stay on or give up entirely. And standing in the middle of it all, gun raised, face twisted with something that looks like madness wearing a business suit, is someone Rafeeq has never seen before. Tall, white, expensive watch. Eyes that have stopped caring about consequences. "Where is she?" The man shouts at no one and everyone. "Where's the Vale girl?" Kadir's hand moves toward his weapon but freezes when the man swings the gun toward a nurse clutching a medication cart. "I said, where is she?" Spit flies from his mouth. His finger tightens on the trigger. Rafeeq steps forward, hands raised. "She's not here. Seraphine was transferred to county holding. You're in the wrong place." The man's eyes lock onto him. Recognition flashes. This is your fault. All of it." "I don't know you," Rafeeq says carefully. "Marcus Vale, Khalil's son." The gun steadies, aimed directly at Rafeeq's chest now. "You destroyed my father, destroyed my family, took everything from us." Pieces click together in Rafeeq's mind. Khalil's son, the one Seraphine mentioned on the phone that first night. The one who wasn't supposed to be part of this. "Your father tried to kill me," Rafeeq says quietly, "multiple times. He killed my wife. He threatened a child. He was trying to survive." Marcus's voice cracks. "You pushed him into a corner, sued him, ruined him, forced him to fight back. He drove drunk and killed someone 7 years ago. That's where this started. It was an accident. Accidents have consequences." The words hang there, and Marcus's face does something terrible. Something that says he's already decided how this ends. His finger moves on the trigger. Zuri screams Rafeeq's name. And then a voice cuts through the chaos. Small, terrified, but clear. "Stop!" Everyone turns. Zuri is standing now, stepping out from behind her mother despite hands trying to pull her back. She walks toward Marcus with steps that shake but don't stop. "Don't!" Rafeeq says urgently. "Zuri, get back." But she keeps walking until she's 5 feet from the gun. 5 feet from death. 5 feet from proving courage isn't about being unafraid. It's about being afraid and moving forward anyway. "Your family hurt people," Zuri says, her voice trembling but firm. "They tried to kill Mr. Rafeeq. They destroyed the center. They scared kids in my neighborhood. And you're doing the same thing right now." Marcus stares at her. "You're the one. The little girl with the note. Yes, you ruined everything." "No." Zuri's voice strengthens. "Your family did. By choosing revenge over healing. By choosing violence over peace. By thinking money means you can hurt whoever you want." Marcus's hand shakes. The gun wavers. "I'm 8 years old," Zuri continues, "and I know that what you're doing is wrong. You're grown. You should know better." The silence that follows is so complete Rafeeq can hear his own heartbeat. Marcus's eyes fill with tears. The gun lowers an inch, then another. "I don't know how to stop," he whispers. "Yes, you do," Zuri says. "You put the gun down. You walk away. You choose different." For a moment, it looks like he might. For a moment, his finger loosens on the trigger and his shoulders sag and something human appears in his eyes. And then his phone buzzes in his pocket. He pulls it out with his free hand, reads the screen. His face hardens. "They're offering a deal," he says hollowly. "Khalil, Seraphine, Nasir, everyone. Reduced sentences if they testify against each other." He looks at Rafeeq with pure hatred. "You win. You always win." "This isn't about winning," Rafeeq says. But Marcus isn't listening anymore. He raises the gun again, not at Rafeeq this time, at himself. "No!" Multiple voices shout at once. Kadir lunges. Zuri screams. Rafeeq moves faster than he knew he could. The gun goes off. But Kadir's hand has knocked Marcus's arm sideways, and the bullet hits ceiling tile instead of flesh. Officers flood the hallway from every direction. Marcus goes down under their weight. Handcuffs click. Rights are read. The gun is bagged as evidence. The hospital erupts into controlled chaos. Medical staff rushing to treat the wounded guard. Police securing the scene. Patients being evacuated to safe wings. Rafeeq finds Zuri in her mother's arms. Both of them shaking. Both of them crying. Both of them alive. He kneels beside them. "You can't keep doing this. You can't keep risking your life for mine. Then stop needing to be saved," Zuri says through tears. Despite everything, Rafeeq laughs. It's exhausted and broken and real. 3 days later, the community center breaks ground again. New location, better security, same purpose. Zuri stands at the ribbon-cutting ceremony holding giant scissors that are too big for her hands. Cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions she doesn't answer. Rafeeq stands beside her, his daughter Hanan on his other side, still recovering but insisting she be here. Deshaun and his crew are ready to start building. This time, nobody's stopping them. "This is for every kid who's been told they don't matter," Rafeeq says into the microphone. "For every child who's been told to stay quiet, to be invisible, to not cause trouble." He looks at Zuri. "This is for the ones who speak up anyway." Zuri cuts the ribbon. The crowd cheers. Construction begins. And across town, in a county jail cell, Seraphine sits with a lawyer explaining her plea deal. Khalil is 3 cells down, facing life without parole. Marcus is in psychiatric evaluation, his future uncertain. Nasir has already turned state's witness, trading testimony for reduced time. The Vale Empire is crumbling, assets frozen, accounts seized, everything built on blood money finally coming due. But in Zuri's neighborhood, something is growing. A center with bright walls and safe spaces, basketball courts and computer labs. A place where kids can go after school and not worry about what's waiting in the dark. And on the front entrance, just like Deshaun promised, a bronze plaque reads, "Zuri's Place, where courage begins with one voice." Zuri stands in front of it on opening day, her mother's hand on her shoulder, Rafeeq and Hanan beside her. "You changed the world," Rafeeq says softly. "No," Zuri corrects. "I just wrote a note." But they both know it was more than that. It was a choice, a risk, a moment where fear could have won and didn't. Inside, kids are already streaming through doors, laughing, playing, learning, being. And somewhere in Lagos, another child picks up a pencil and wonders if their voice matters too. Because stories like Zuri's don't end. They ripple outward, touching lives that never saw the beginning but feel the impact anyway. If the story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We've got more inspiring stories coming that prove courage comes in all sizes. Drop a comment below about a time you spoke up when you were afraid. Your story might inspire someone who needs to hear it today. Let's build a community of voices that refuse to stay silent.